Hey everyone, welcome to another video. That's how I roll. My name is Greg. Tonight I'm going to do a little bit of a recap of session 5, and I'll talk about it in a minute. But I had it's kind of been a long week, and so I just wanted to get a video up. I don't know if I'll be able to play an adventure this week. And I'll tell you why in just a moment. But so last episode, I split up. I have only 2 party members left. I have Ham, and then I have Shareen. And so we rolled and we come to find out that Ham and Shareen are going on their own for right now after losing Imrib, which we know Imrib is not technically dead. And then Mill, the halfling fighter, died last. And so Shareen took a job from Trojan at the Imperial Coins that a relic had been Trojan kind of runs, I wouldn't call it like a thieves guild, but he's got a group they're called the miners that he uses that goes up into the Dwarven Hills and finds stuff and brings it back into. There used to be a Dwarven kingdom up in or Dwarven ruins and stuff up in ruins in general. Because it had to be just Dwarven, but up in the mountains. And he's got miners who go up there and they mine through the mountains and find stuff and for his business. And he one of their mining operations came across an old ancient tomb. They took it ended up being a feathered hat of all things, but that's what the dice told us. They took it, and it come to find out that the spirit of the Dwarven King sent forth some dark dwarves, the Drugar, but I call them dark dwarfs, into town to recover it, and they ended up killing some of Trojan's miners, and they tried to get to him, but as we saw in when you look up his shop that we did in our little book, our town book here, one of his special things that he had was known for heavy bodyguards. And so they were able to defeat and hold him back. And so he hired Sharon to take the hat back. And so that's what she did. So she went back to the tower. It was a tower it was a tomb that was built into the mountain, but it was kind of like a tower. It went up. So she went in, and in the first room she found a NPC that had been wounded. I believe her name was Nora, and she was wanted her just to rescue her and get her out of there, because there was creatures in here she was only keeping them back by the light, because it was dark dwarfs and they don't like light, and she was keeping them away. And plus the door was being cracked open in the sunlight there. But so she was able to, but Shareen said, no, I have something I have to accomplish. So she went forward and she met 2 of the dark dwarfs, and she was able to. I rolled on reaction. They were suspicious of her, but they weren't hostile. So she had rolled at Trojan had given her some commands on some dwarven stuff that she had known, and she'd remember the word friend. And so she was able to kind of talk to them and say, hey, I'm friend, I'm returning this, I'm not an enemy. And so she was able to make it. So she went through the second room with the dwarves following her, carrying the lantern, and then to the third room there was a trap. She was able to disarm that trap and get past it. And to the fourth room that was empty, but in the fourth room, like I said, an empty room is not you should always forecast to your party things that are coming, and so to give them a prepare, because especially if they're coming into a creature that is a lot stronger than they are, you want them the ability to negotiate that room differently instead of just straight combat. So it's either they could sneak away, they could sneak past, whatever they do. Anyway, but she went into the room. It ended up being the tomb room, and the spirit of the Dwarven King was there. And in order so I had bribed the spirit. So in order for him to let her leave, she had to secure, to put the hat back into a more secure area. And so she did, but I think it was on her last roll. She made it, was able to get in there, get it, and put it away. And part of it was if she opened this room, because I rolled and it was open, and I rolled open. It wasn't open in its escape. It was open, and basically, if she opened the door, I thought I wrote it down. Maybe I didn't. If she opened it, they would be able to. He was able to let her go. Open safety. So that's what I rolled. So the open was allowed her to. If she opened the door, she could get away safely, and that's what happened. So she opened the door, she put it away, she secured it, she left. As she was leaving, there was a bad weather and an avalanche that came in and closed up the tomb, and she got hit with a boulder and lost a few hit points. But she made it back to Iron Bridge, and so that's where I'm going to pick up tonight. I'm gonna roll her next adventure and get that set up. I'm gonna still play Shareen for a little bit, because I'm going to, and then I'll get to Ham. I'm gonna run some adventures with Ham. I have some ideas about. He's a priest, and so I'm gonna have some. I have some ideas of maybe how he can move towards maybe more halfling deities of. There's a part of Marine, and so is it Marine? Is that Menon is the she's the evil one, and then or the chaotic, I want to say, and then the other one is what's her name? I'm sorry, I'm a little bit off tonight, and I'll explain that in just a minute. Madeira. So he is a priest of Madeira. He used to be a soldier, and now he's committed himself to the faith. But I want to make one of the things about ShadowDark is it doesn't have it has just her regular gods, and maybe we'll see a little bit more. I know her Kickstarter starts next week, I believe, for her. I'm really looking forward to that, because that will be her setting. We'll probably get a little bit more, we'll get a whole lot more. Maybe there will be some deities in there that are based more towards race. Because, it says, the many gods of the universe, the most well-known gods are listed here. And a character may worship any deity or none. And so what I'm going to do is I'm thinking about having something that's kind of the pantheon of Madeira that's a little bit more halfling, and I have an idea that I want to take from regular Dungeons and Dragons, Greyhawk, some of their deity stuff. But it's funny because tomorrow night I am DMing a Castles and Crusades game for the first time. My group wants to try it, so. I've been reading some of that stuff, and it's kind of weird how the deity of the halflings in that has almost the same as some of the characteristics of the deities that you find in Greyhawk. But anyway, it's very interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this, but one of the things I will be doing also on my channel, and I probably will use ShadowDark. One of the things about my channel, that's how I roll, is I'm going to play multiple different games. ShadowDark is always going to be, I'm going to keep playing it. But what I would like to do is add another game so that I can branch out different games. And that will allow me to do a couple things. Number one, it will allow me to not get burned out on just one game. I don't think I would, because I love these games and stuff. but just protect against that. And so there's a couple games I want to try. I might run a little bit of Castles and Crusades. I'm really thinking maybe running Knave 2E. And then the other one that I'm really thinking about is running the new Marvel Multiverse RPG as a solo. Just because, just to mix things up just a little bit. Plus, that's the part of my channel. I don't want my channel to be focused just on one game. I want to be able to do different ones. And so, but what you won't see, I'll tell you this straight off the bat, and people get mad if they won't. You won't see regular Dungeons and Dragons unless I do old school stuff. You won't see any 5e because there's plenty of that out there. So, and if I was going to do one, it would be Beck Me or AD&D or something like that. But anyway, so anyway, but just this week I had, and this branches into why I might run a solo game in another system, just because this week I lost a friend of mine, passed away this weekend, and he was a friend who, I'm in my 50s, and so I've known him since we were 12. And when I was younger, I moved from one neighborhood to another, and I had grown up in this one neighborhood for 7-8 years, and I really didn't want to move to this new neighborhood. My dad built a home, and so when we moved over there, there was just two kids playing basketball right up the street. And I went up to go meet them, and one of them was a friend named Tony, and we became really good friends, and we had a lot of the same interest, not only in sports and stuff, but we had a lot of same interest when it came to role-playing game. And I played when I met him, I was already a D&D player, and he took to it. He fell in love with the game just as much as I did, and we played all the time, and we ran all the AD&D stuff that you could think of. We ran against the Giants. We ran against the Slave Lords. We ran Keep on the Borderlands. We ran In Search of Unknown. I mean, you name it. We ran all the City State of the Invincible Overlord. I mean, anytime we could get our hands on any kind of D&D stuff, we played it, Judges Guild or whatever. And he was a really good friend for like 20 years. We spent a lot of time together. Yeah, I'd say about 20 years. We spent a lot of time together. And then we kind of, how things go, we kind of went our separate ways, and then he got some health issues. But yeah, I lost him this week, and it really just made me just reminisce of all the games we played and how much just RPGs mean to me personally, and to Tony, and how much it's just the fact that we just loved as we were younger, and it's still now, the heroic adventures, being young people, and it's amazing how much it influenced my life. I used to always joke that because I read, AD&D Gygaxian language, I knew, young guy, we knew what lawful and chaotic and all these type of alignments and all this kind of stuff that we knew that was just kind of interesting. And surrounded by adults really playing a lot of D&D. So we just learned a lot about life, but just getting around rolling dice and playing heroes. And with Tony, he was always our wizard. He loved the wizard class. He would play other characters every now and then, but almost every time we played, he played a wizard. And because he just loved, I think it's just he just loved a sense of magic, and he became a phenomenal wizard player. He was very smart and very creative when it came to spells and stuff, and just utilities of different spells. And he, back in old school D&D, you had your spells, but he would always like push the limits of, hey, can I try to do this with it, or can I do that with it? And but his favorite character growing up, and he became the character that I think he had the highest level, and he would play this guy all the time whenever we could. Was a wizard named Tiberon Ruel. That was his name, Tiberon Ruel. He loved that name, and whenever he played EverQuest when it first came out, and he played World of Warcraft and all, he loved video games, especially fantasy video games. Every character is named Tiberon, and so what I'm going to do in honor of my friend is, it won't be this week, but I will start running a solo campaign that's based upon Tiberon as a wizard. And so it might be that I run him in ShadowDark. It might be that I run it in Castles and Crusades, because I'm about to start DMing it, and it's a game I'm just interested to learn. And so, or it might be just in Knave. I might run him in Knave. But anyway, you might see him that I add to the Iron Bridge Rangers, but it's just in honor of my friend Tony. I will be playing the character of Tiberon Ruel down the road, and so look for that. And it's just weird to have a friend at your age who passes away, and it's really early, and I'm an old man, so I think of these things, but it's amazing how these games really formed me when I was in the 80s and the 90s, especially in the 80s. When I met Tony, it was 1982, and so just how much chasing after heroism. And I like my games about heroes. I don't like my games about, morally gray, type people. I like my fantasy to be. It's why David Gemmell is one of my favorite writers. It's because I just like heroic fantasy. I want my characters to be heroic, and so. And a lot of it just came from, and that's another thing with Tony, was not only did we play RPGs together, we also read a lot of fantasy books. And he used to always get in trouble. He used to always get on to me because we didn't have a lot, so we would just buy, like, he'd buy a book, I'd buy a book, we'd trade them around or whatever. And so, but he would never let me have. He would always give me the cover with the dust jacket already taken off, because. He would say, you always mess up the dust jacket, because I just throw it in my backpack or whatever. And and books are a huge part of my life. In fact, I own bookstores. So we used to read all the stuff back in the day. Anything that came out fantasy, we read. And we were also, and I still am, a comic book nerd. That's one of the reasons I wanted to run a Marvel game. We used to buy comics, and back in the day, we didn't have a lot of fun. So he would buy a couple of comics. My friend would buy, Tony always read Iron Man and Avengers, and I had a friend who read X-Men and things that were Wolverine or whatever that was X-Men-ish. And I was always, my favorite is Daredevil, and I read Daredevil and I read Hulk, and those were the ones and Conan. Conan. Is my favorite. And so Savage Sword of Conan, the Conan Barbarian from Marvel, King Conan, I read all those. And those were my three. And then I had another buddy who collected Spider-Man and Tarzan. So we would pass them all around. And every now and then it'd be a Thor, Fantastic Four, or whatever. But those were the main ones. But anyway, it's been a I'm gonna call it a rough week, but it's been a week of reminiscing about the things that form you. I'm older, and Tony was a big part of my love for this game, and my love for just fantasy and stuff, and had a lot of great memories. So so what you'll see coming up is I will be running a series with Tiberon, whether I add him to the Iron Bridge Rangers or I do a separate one. So just keep an eye out for that. And so let's go to tonight. I'm just going to roll up the adventure. And then I will either play it tomorrow night if I get a chance. My work has been really busy. If I get a chance tomorrow night, I'll play it before I have to DM the game. If not, it'll be early next week. So let's see. Let's roll and find out the adventure this week for Shareen. I know one thing I did. I rolled on the low district table for an encounter, and I rolled an 86. And I'm going to add that on here because it was a red-eyed being watches from a shadowed window. I was just trying to figure out ways that I can get more, what's the day? It's 5th, right? Yeah, today's 5th. And so I'm gonna have this play into this. Is what it did was Trojan Shop, the Imperial Coins, is in the low district. So as she's leaving, she notices a red eye being watches from a. What does she notice? I don't know. We'll roll that later. And so let's see what my adventure is going to be. I probably won't run a. Let's see, adventure. D20. 5 bypass. Let's see what I get here. Bypass the 18 witch. Well, look at there. Bypass the witch in the Mirkwood. In the Mirkwood. I think I'm gonna go with that. I might make one more reroll. Let's just see if it would make a little more sense. No, the Dwarven Lord. I've done too many of the Dwarven Lords. I'm gonna stick with this, but Mirkwood might not mean, because I like this red eye being watches from a. So this is what I'm gonna. This is gonna be a Shareen Avenger. Another Shareen adventure. And I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to roll. I haven't been doing experience points, but I think what I'm going to do for leveling is I think each time I'm just going to ask the Oracle. And it's going to be a straight up. It's not, I ain't worried about butts. But it's just 50-50 chance. Do my characters level afterwards? And I just think it makes it a lot easier, unless I just do like every couple sessions or whatever. I think I'm just going to do to see if they level. I think it'd be easier. So 1 through 10 is yes. 11 through 20, 11 through 20 is yes. Below 11 is no. 15. So yes. So she's going to level. Let's go ahead and do that real quick too. So Shareen will go to level 3. And the thing about that, I was thinking about it because I was looking at the book this week, and the thing about her leveling is that when she gets to level 3, her title, she becomes an outlaw. And I was just trying to think about how can I tie that into the story. And I think I have, so Mirkwood might not mean the forest of the Mirkwood. It might mean something else. So we're going to see. But I do have a lot of forests around me, so Mirkwood could be there. So let's level her up so she gets a straight to the priest class, the thief class. There it is. Man, I love this art in this book. 2d6. Let me just get a little 2d6 so I can just roll them and not have to worry about rolling it twice. 9. +2 to strength, dexterity, or charisma. She already has 17 dexterity. I think that would be, can you? What's the highest? Is 18 the highest? 18 plus. So she could go to 19 dexterity But I think she's going to go... I think it's going to go to charisma. 15, and that will give her +2. So there you go. I think charisma really kind of fits with her as a player because, you know, one of the things that saved her last time was her reaction roll to that. So I think her getting this, having charisma will help her, especially if she becomes an outlaw. That'd be so interesting. So there we go. She's leveled up to 3. So her next adventure, and I will be working on this, is going to be Bypass the Witch of the Mirkwood. And it's going to be Shareen. And then I'm going to add this little flavor. A red-eye being watches from a shadowy window. And probably what this is going to do... Oh, yeah. I already got Sarah. I already know. I know what this is going to be. And it's going to tie in... I'm going to write this on here so I'll remember. And you guys could... I'll let you think about it. It's going to tie into her becoming an outlaw. Yeah, that makes... All right, cool deal. All right, so again, thanks everyone. I have to print out some more stuff next week. But thanks everyone. I'm sorry I didn't get 2 things. Maybe I'll get a chance to play tomorrow. If I get let go of work early, I can do it. But again, thanks for all the support, you guys on the channel. You know, roll some dice. Tell me how your games are doing. And if you can, you know, what do they say? Subscribe, like, share, comment below. Again, thanks. Have a good night.